everybody out there in YouTube. We are the Middle Age Guys, and we are going to continue our episodic reviews of everything Young Justice. In this particular video, we're going to be looking at season number 1, episode 23, entitled Insecurity. Let me get the introductions out of the way. I am the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
Season number 1, episode 23, Insecurity, was first aired out on March 31st, 2012. Like always, folks, there aren't going to be any sort of spoiler warnings with this review. Within this review, we'll cover a short synopsis of the episode, and then 3 particular talking points: what we liked about the episode, what we didn't like about the episode, or if there was anything that we saw that we would like to change, what we might change. And then finally, we'll go ahead and we'll cover if we notice any sort of details that set up a future storyline arc or something that, you know, is going to come down the pike, whether it be the end of the first season or even into the second season of Young Justice. All right. Let me get the synopsis out of the way. The episode opens up with the Black Spider going through Star City, and he actually he's on a job, and he's about to go ahead and drop Burnell Jones out of his apartment window onto the street below. When he's interrupted by Green Arrow and Artemis. Okay, Artemis and Green Arrow, they go ahead and they, long story short, they end up saving Burnell Jones, capturing Black Spider, and on the way back, returning to her home, Artemis, who's very overjoyed about it, goes ahead and she leaves through a boom tube to return to Gotham City where she lives at. Only to have Green Arrow turn around and ask, okay, so how long have you been watching us? Because Red Arrow has been tailing them the whole time. Okay, turns out that the Green Arrow wants to go ahead and talk to the Red Arrow anyways. He's got something to say to him. But before we even get to that point, we notice that the scene cuts away to Sportsmaster, who is breaking into Bell Rev Prison. All right. Reason he is breaking into Bell Rev Prison is that he is breaking Professor Ivo out, who, by the way, is a really sadistic bastard because it looks like he spends a lot of his spare time, basically at the bedside of a comatose Dr. Tio Morrow's, inside of his hospital bed, just telling him how much of he's just an abject failure in comparison to him. Let's never mind the fact that they're both in Bell Rev Prison, right? But Sportsmaster breaks Professor Ivo out of Bell Rev Prison because he's got a job for him. All right. Cut back to Artemis and Gotham. Turns out that she finds out from her mom that, guess what? When she was recruited for the team, it turns out that Batman and Green Arrow had already taken notice of her extracurricular activities outside of school. And when they confronted her, it really wasn't an open thing where they were like, okay, we want to go ahead and recruit her. She finds out from her mom that, guess what? Her mom begged them to go ahead and to take some sort of charge in her life so that she wouldn't end up going to prison like she did, which sends her off the deep end. Artemis, just is like, well, that just means I'm like some sort of pity case, and she like completely loses it. She decides to Zeta Tube to the cave, where she finds out, hey, guess what? Not only is the whole team there, but Red Arrow is there also. Okay. It turns out that when Green Arrow was talking to Red Arrow, he said, hey, look, you've been accepted into the Justice League. He's like, but what I want you to do for the better part of the rest of the year, if you can work with the guys, in the team and work with them, show that you can be a team player, that'll sit really well with you coming into the Justice League. All right. So with Red Arrow there amongst the team, and that now that he's going to be a mainstay, at least for the time being, Artemis kind of finds herself in a place where, well, she's not sure exactly exactly what her place is going to be. Long story short, they get sent on a mission to go ahead and find out what's going on with Sportsmaster and why he's been seen in Louisiana, and to find out what the hell is going on there in New Orleans. So what happens is that Red Arrow, Artemis, Kid Flash, and Aqualad get assigned to go ahead and basically stake out what Sportmaster is doing, and to find out exactly what he's up to, because if he's crawling around in New Orleans and everything, it's quite possibly he's not up to any good. Okay. Well, their first instance actually running into Sportsmaster doesn't go very well. Turns out that pretty much the team gets scattered to the winds, and they're like, there's a whole bunch of confusion about who's doing what and who should be covering what. And there's a lot of posturing between Red Arrow and Artemis. Okay. Artemis, after everybody splits and says, all right, we'll follow the trackers, to find out who's gone where, Artemis goes after Cheshire, who's appeared there, only to find out that she's been tagged with a tracer by Red Arrow, and another fight ensues in a New Orleans warehouse, where they find out, oh, hey, look, this is what Professor Ivo is working on. He's working on something with the piece of the tentacle, the Iconoderm tentacle, with Clarion the Witch Boy, and also the brain and Monsieur Marla. They are there. They're working on something ultra technologically advanced and magic infused. Unfortunately, they aren't able to sit there and find out exactly what's going on before all of them disappear. Clarion goes ahead and he whisks them all away, and Cheshire and Sportsmaster go ahead and they also exit the fight too. All right, coming back to the cave, it turns out that while they're trying to go ahead and debrief on the mission, Red Arrow spills the beans. He's like telling everybody in the cave, "Hey, look, I don't know about you, but Artemis sent everybody on a wild goose chase because while she put a tracer on a train car going one direction, she was following Cheshire, and I was following her with a tracer that I put on her on her arrows." So a whole bunch of drama ensues, and it turns out that Kid Flash goes ahead and he asks her straight out. He was like, what were you trying to do? Are you so insecure about your spot being threatened with Red Arrow around that you decided that you want to take things solo and try to go ahead and take them down by yourself? And because of Artemis's mixed history, her storied history, she can't really come out and say exactly what's going on. And she fesses up saying, "Yeah, that's what I was doing." In which case, Kid Flash kind of lays it on her. He's like, "Damn, I didn't know you were so insecure." He's like, "Never mind about that. Let's just go ahead and let's bury this. This is all bullshit. We all know we could have done better, right?" Episode ends up. Artemis is going back to her apartment. She goes into her room. She says hi to her mom. She just wants the night to end. When she sees that, guess what? Sportsmaster is waiting there in her bedroom and everything else. And that's when it is fully spelt out to everybody, if it's not obvious by now, that guess what? Sportsmaster is her dad, all right? And that obviously Artemis has familiar ties with folks who are, if not members of the Light, working with members of the Light. And that's pretty much where the episode finishes up. All right. Hopefully that didn't take too long. With that all out of the way, with all the details out of the way, I don't think I missed anything. What was one of the things that you happen to like? What did you like about the episode, guys? That's the first talking point. Floor is open.
The episode was all jumbled up with all the things that you mentioned. It's kind of funny how, of course, the episode begins with Black Spider and Artemis and all that, and Red Arrow. So you knew something was going to ensue there with Red Arrow actually joining a team. You actually knew that something was going to go on. It's funny because half of the team actually stayed behind. Superboy, Miss Martian, and freaking Zatanna, they didn't want to freaking go on the mission, and Robin wasn't there because he was doing the dynamic duo thing. So,
yeah, that actually covers another sub story that I really didn't cover in the synopsis. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was about to get into that just a little bit because I want Grey Mouse to speak as well. The couple of stories that were going on, it was very interesting, especially since Kid Flash, he started defending Artemis, He actually started to talk to her. They had a line of communication. It wasn't totally like fighting or bickering until the end.
This could wind up being one of those things that sounds better in my head than out loud. But you are a real archer. No, I mean, I'm jazzed about Red Arrow. We go way back, you know? But you've made your own place on the team. You have nothing to prove. Well, not to me, okay?
Okay. And Wally? It sounded fine out loud.
I gather you did not join the team for the camaraderie.
And not to please GA either. There's a mole on your team, Calder. You don't want to face it, so I will. And suspect number 1 is Artemis.
And then, you know, it's just, yeah, this episode was jumbled around and it was all messed up. But it doesn't take any away from the episode. But I don't want to go ahead and talk too much. Gray Mouse, what about you?
Well, the title says it all, pretty much. There's a little bit of insecurities with Red Tornado, and there's also a little bit of insecurities with Artemis. What I really liked about it, I guess what I do like about it is that the episode's name actually directly reflected what happened in the episode. And we got to learn a little bit more of Artemis's past.
Was there anything else that you wanted to poke on that? Nope. All right. Okay. Thankfully, you guys went in and you brought that up. Yeah, this particular episode, the really impressive thing about this is that it kind of juggles 3 storylines all at once. Okay, there's the mission, there's the underlying things that's going on with Artemis on her side, as far as like the side of her life that she wants to keep secret away from everybody else, and then we also find out, you know, there's something going on with Red Tornado up in his loft, and that's stumbled upon by Superboy, Miss Martian, and Zatanna, since they decide to stay behind away from this particular mission. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was going on. A lot of stuff happened really, really quick. In fact, you know, even with my notes and everything, I didn't exactly cover everything. But yeah, the best thing about this particular episode is the fact that it does juggle 3 storylines. And it does actually wrap them up rather cleanly, coming toward the end of the episode. All right. Let's see here. Other than that, the one thing that I did like, all right, probably the best line in the whole episode, was when Professor Ivo shows up in the warehouse. All right, and Clarion the Witch Boy is there. All right. The first thing out of his mouth is that, I didn't order this. Send it back.
This isn't T.O. Morrow.
Clarion, this is Professor Ivo.
I didn't order this. Send it back. Morrow's in a coma? Did I already know that?
Morrow's skills have been in a coma since the 1940s, but I won't stay where I'm not wanted.
Don't get pouty. I invented pouty.
just like a bratty kid. That was hilarious.
Yeah, because he wasn't looking for Professor Ivo. He wanted Dr. T.O. Morrow there to be the one that they were working with.
Have to actually tell him he's been in a coma.
He was like, okay, all right, yeah, but that's, you know, all the one-liners aside and things that we may have prospectively liked. Yeah,
you can't radio a warning. Artemis to Arrow, look out.
Yeah, I mean, with all the one-liners and all the other stuff, all the other details that are juggled around on this one, that's done really well. I'm not presuming that this particular episode is perfect. guys, that'll take us to our second point. Was there anything in this particular episode that you didn't like, or any particular details you might have chosen to change if you had a choice?
I wouldn't change anything about this episode because everything was, like you said, it was wrapped up. I didn't see anything wrong as far as, okay, from the beginning with Doctor Strange actually deactivating certain things about Bel Rev in order to Sports Master to get in and get out.
Yep.
That was pretty crazy because there's something going on there. There's something going on with Artemis, and in the background, I mean, yeah, you kind from episodes in the past, you kind of see what the light is up to, but it's still a mystery.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't have anything I don't particularly like about this episode unless if something's going over my head. Grey Mouse, what about you?
The opening sequence with Black Spider. What was the whole point of that? It's really, that was just filler content up until the point to where, Green Arrow and Artemis were working together. And apparently they've been doing it for a while because of some of the comments that they made after she left through the boom tube to go back. But, I just felt like that maybe we could at least figured out what Black Spider, what was the reason for dropping the reporter out the window.
Well, he is part of the League of Shadow.
Well, but that you wouldn't know that if you aren't geeks like us who know that. But there's
was
no reason for that. There's really no reason for him not to be there.
It's called a cold opening, but there is a reason that happened, and I will cover that in actually the third point. But was there anything else that you wanted to go ahead and lay out there, Grey Mouse? No? Okay. I think the only detail that I would have I found grinding at all was Artemis being a dumb teenager. All right, teenager. We already know that she has a hard time. She's obviously has a hard time accepting that. Okay, anything about her position or anything like her position with the team or what she's got and everything else, the way that she thinks about it is that that's hers because she's fought, she's worked for it the whole time. All right. She doesn't want any inkling at all that anybody has, had a hand in that or has helped her along in any other way, or somebody else might have incidentally done something that might have brought her into something in a way that she didn't expect. All right. And because of that, she goes ahead and she flips out on her mom, when the truth of the matter is that, probably the first thing that her mom, who is a former tigress, the first thing that was going on with her was probably, oh shit, I have Batman and Green Arrow here talking to me about my daughter. What the fuck is she doing wrong? All right.
She was a huntress.
Yeah, or a huntress, yeah. There's, but as far as it goes, we already know that this is one of Artemis's personality quirks. All right, is part of her character makeup as it is. So, there's that being said, it's like I said, it's still a dumb teenager thing, which in context is something that all right, I find annoying, but there's not anything else that I've seen in the episode that I think I'd find egregious at this time.
I mean, as soon as Artemis found that information out, that there's one thing that was kind of bothering me. So now you know that Green Arrow approached your mom and Batman approached your mom. So you're telling me that you're scared of motherfuckers finding out your history, but them two motherfuckers showed up at your house. You couldn't put two and two together right there as to say, wait, they know who you are and they know who your mom is. Don't you think that they're going to know who your father is as well? Yeah. It's Batman,
Yeah, he's only the greatest detective in the world, but that
was the only thing that okay. But I let it go because it's Artemis. She's a dumb teenager. She was working by emotion at the time. And then, yeah, she just went on with her insecurities at the end of that.
Yep. All right. If there isn't anything else that we're going to throw as far as the details for what we didn't like, as far as this episode goes, let's go ahead and let's cover our third point that we always cover. Was there anything that you noticed in the episode that acts as a setup or a reference to something that's coming down the pike, whether or not it's be a future episode or a future storyline, maybe even going into the second season?
Wow, she got the offer from her father. Hey, it's time to switch sides, baby girl. So this is the third time where one of the heroes are at a crossroads. You got Superboy, you got Miss Martian, and now you got Artemis. So that opens up a big can of worms. It's like, dang. So, and then we still have the whole hidden mole situation that's going on. So there's more, but that's one thing that I would like to mention. Gray Mouse, what did you notice?
The creation of the biotech.
Thank you, Sportsmaster. We'll take it from here.
That's another big one.
Yep.
And I mean, you had members of the Light that was there. It was funny because when they returned, what's his name back to prison? You know, was it? Tiamaro, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, when they returned him back to prison, and he was because the robot that he left was malfunctioning, and Doctor Strange was right there, and he had to tweak him up, and yeah, and it's funny because Green Arrow's like, yeah, we checked. It's not a robot. It's actually him. And it's like, yeah, you kind of got that information pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. If there isn't anything else you wanted to go ahead and throw on this particular one, Gray Mouse, let me go ahead and interject with mine. Obviously, you guys have already covered the biotech with Professor Ivo. You've also covered the propositioning by Sportsmaster. One of the ones that is really kind of buried, and you maybe won't know this unless you've actually done some of like the legwork and looked at some of the looked into the backgrounds of some of the characters that are showing up in season 3. But Burnell Jones, his daughter is Sissy Jones, who actually turns out to be Arrowette, and that particular moment in time right there where Sissy Jones is watching Artemis and Green Arrow save her dad, that's actually the moment in time that causes her to want to become a hero. Because
she was starstruck right there because of her looking at Green Arrow and Artemis, right.
Mostly Artemis. Okay, and that's the reason why she becomes Arrowette, who has a role in the third season. All right, in the third season roster of characters. Okay, and that's really the only other big setup as far as what's left in this particular episode.
Well, besides Red Tornado.
Well, besides Red Tornado. Yeah, because I think the thing about Red Tornado, though, his kind of falls in line with the biotech. But yeah, that particular, it's kind of funny how that particular sub storyline I kind of flew under the radar for me when I was going ahead and doing the synopsis of the episode.
I didn't want to mention that at first because I thought that maybe one of you guys were going to do it. But the construction of his his secret identity or whatever, or his alter ego or whatever, that kind of plays a role a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely does. It definitely does. Especially now that he's got pants. All right. With that all out of the way, was there any other details that we wanted to go ahead and talk about before we go ahead and give this our final rating or at the end?
Yeah, Wolfie let him down.
Oh.
Etativel. Hector Siri Nipo.
Bark if Tornado comes back.
Perhaps you should ask Red.
Wolf.
That was funny. Wolf was supposed to warn Bart. Yeah, like, Tornado shows up. Bart, howl something, but
yeah.
Wolf was sweet. Like, dang.
Yep. I mean, and the thing is that he's probably lived in such close proximity with all the people there that it's like, oh, Red Tornado's not a threat. I'm not going to wake up if I hear him around. So yeah.
Wait, why didn't Superboy give the job to Super Psycho then?
Yeah, could have given the job to Spear. I think one of the only other things that I probably didn't like overall about all of this. Well, okay, there's two other little tidbits. All right, the other reference or setup for anything happening in the future was the whole kiss between Cheshire and Red Arrow, and that whole interchange really hints into things that are going into the second season. And then the only other thing that I didn't like at all with this particular one is the fact that the Brain was there, but he had no lines.
Why didn't Superboy hear Red Tornado come in?
It's that could have been something also, but that's also that actually isn't a nitpick.
You could hear helicopters coming.
Yeah, no. He's distracted. That was what's going on. All right. Let's go ahead and bring this one to a close. Let's give our final thoughts on it like we always do. On a scale of yay, nay, or meh, what are your thoughts on this particular episode, guys?
Oh, my God. This opened up a lot. It really opened up a lot. And since this is the third hero, like I said before, and it's kind of closing up to the end of the season, they open things and they close certain things. Great storytelling, putting in a little distrust. I like that. That was cool. I'm gonna give this a yay. I mean, damn, just whew. Especially with Red Arrow, just not. Hey, look, you're not who you say you are. This is not over. Then Sportmaster, hey, it's time to change sides. Man, Gray Mouse, what about you?
That's kind of interesting coming from Red Arrow. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, yeah. So I give this a yay as well. It was good storytelling. Also, it kind of gives you open, like you said, it kind of removes all doubts about Sportmaster being Artemis's dad.
Yep. Yeah, I would have to give this particular episode a yay. Unfortunately, and my fault for not being able to sit there and recall all the storylines that were being held in the episode, but there are literally 3 different storylines.
Well, you covered one of the most important things about the show.
Well, but as far as it goes, the funny thing is that even 23 episodes into this particular season, and there's only 26 episodes, they are still knee-deep into sowing seeds for stuff that's going to happen, like storylines that are going to happen, if not by the end of this season, all the way upwards into season number 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely there's a great deal of footwork still being there's a great deal of work still being done on this particular one, where a lot of cartoon seasons and series when they get down to like we've got like the last 3 episodes, either they're crescendoing up or they're kind of just trying to set up to that very, very end episode, and they don't have much going on past that. This one obviously is setting up for a lot of things that will continue on much farther past the end of season 1. All right.
So to add on to that, they knew what they were doing before. They knew that there was going to be a season 2. I mean, it's kind of obvious that they're setting up things for season 2. So I'm wondering if that's going to be the same with the upcoming season 3 coming up. So hopefully they'll continue the storylines and hopefully have enough to run into another a season 4 as well.
Well, on an off thought, they have said the guys who are working on it, and it is Greg Weisman and Brandon Vietti again, who are back to working on, who are show running it. They've said that, you know, if season number 3 is popular and it proves to be really, really successful to the new streaming service and stuff like that, they already have ideas of what they want for seasons number 4 and 5. So hopefully things fall that way, you know. But, you know, that's something.
Have to subscribe to this service and actually freaking watch the freaking episodes that come out.
Yeah. Hopefully sometime soon we'll actually find out more information about that service, because unfortunately right now there isn't a lot out there. All right. But on that end right there, to go ahead and wrap up this particular video, that is pretty much our review of Young Justice Season 1, Episode number 23, entitled Insecurity, which originally aired out on March 31st, 2012. What are your thoughts on the episode, folks? What are your thoughts on our particular review? We would like to know. You can tell us by leaving us a comment below. While you're at it, if you like this particular review, you can go ahead and mash on that like button. We'd appreciate it. And if you honestly didn't like it, I'm not going to blame you if you go ahead and hit the unlike. That's completely up to you. And if you want to go ahead and stick around and see whatever else we put out, whether or not it be these reviews, talk about video games, or any other geek stuff, or any other middle-aged stuff for that matter, I suggest that you go ahead and turn on those subscriptions, turn on those notifications, and you will know whenever we go ahead and drop any of our videos on any of these channels. With all of that said, thank you very much for watching up to this point. Our review on Insecurity, Season 1, Episode number 23 of Young Justice ends right here. I am the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
All forms of entertainment has a right to exist, even if you don't like it. Oh, God. Middle-aged stuff? Maybe talk about middle-aged stuff? Kind of shooting up our ages there. Screw that. Credits.